Hello everyone, Luke Taylor here for another album review, and today's album is 2008 Iced Earth, The Crucible of Man, Something Wicked Part 2. So that title is a mouthful, it's a lot to say, and this album is a earful. It's a lot to listen to, and that's kind of the point. I just want to say right away before I get into, the other details and rambling and all that stuff that I usually do, that this album is really like Lord of the Rings. If you go Return of the King, if you go in knowing that the movie is a certain length and then it has a lot in it, you're ready for it. If you're just expecting, maybe a 90-minute action-packed kind of, this is not that. And that's really the point, is that John Schaffer, in writing this and in all the effort that goes into this album, I feel like this is one of the biggest efforts that I've ever heard from Iced Earth. And that it's something that he really built up over time in being able to tell the story. So I completely respect and appreciate the whole arc that it takes, from just kind of developing the idea of the Something Wicked saga, and then being able to really dedicate this time and the effort and the resources and all the music to it. That said, as well, the bigness of the guitars and the drums and the album, and the layering of the vocals, and also like the choir, the Latin that's sung there, and the production that goes into it, but just the big guitar sound. I feel that this is one of the biggest sounding Iced Earth albums. It is not my favorite by far. That would be Night of the Stormrider. So negatives, again, if you're not into that big experience, you're not going to really enjoy it. There's some fantastic songs, and some of them are actually some of the deeper cuts. I'd say like, Crucify the King, Sacrificial Kingdoms, going down to even Come What May. I mean, there's some really, really great songs on here, but everything will have like a longer fade, or it'll have a bigger intro. And it's just really establishing that, we're taking our time, we're being more detailed, more wordy. Riffs will repeat, and they'll repeat, and they'll repeat. And I know that that's a conscious choice, because there's so much effort that like goes into the choir and writing these bigger movements and passages, but also like there's all the comic art inside of the in the jacket, and just the effort that goes into this, and the bigness of the theme. So I don't have a problem with that. I just don't enjoy it as much as Night of the Stormrider, because and that's why I have to compare it, because Night of the Stormrider is a perfect concept album to me, absolutely perfect. So by the end of it, you're just like, whoa, with Traveling Stygian fades out into the piano, you're like, but it has these moments where it's cut up in a shorter manner, so that you are still delivered this epic story and this emotional change in this direction, and from all the great riffs and songwritings and the solos, you still get that package in just a shorter time. I could listen to Night of the Stormrider 100 times compared to one time of this, just because I just can't sit down and get the fullness of the story that many times when it's kind of that long and that detailed. And the thing is, it even feels longer than it is because of this long investment. Again, like with Return of the King, I'm not going to watch it as many times as maybe someone else who enjoys that more, just because it's such a big investment. And this album has Matt Barlow singing on it, has Troy Seale playing guitars, Brett Smedley on drums. So it is kind of a classic Iced Earth package, and Matt Barlow sounds fantastic, and they do a lot of layering. He's got his wails, his high wails, and his gruff voice. So Matt Barlow is one of the best singers, probably the best at this style. I don't even know what they call this style, dramatic metal. I love Barlow singing on this album. He sounds fantastic. Again, this is one of the best sounding Iced Earth records. And there are some pretty heavy moments that I think stand up really well to more modern releases, because this is 2008. So, I mean, some of my favorite, like metalcore is in full swing. There's some other things going on, some other, Gent is kind of, it's not really getting there yet, but the bigger, heavier metal sounds, some of the death stuff, it's getting going too. So for a classic band, if you compare them to other classic bands of the time, they're probably not putting out the same kind of quality as Iced Earth at this point, which is cool. So I think that this is a big step up in as far as like the production and all that kind of stuff. And that's not to say anything negative about the previous albums at all, because obviously my favorite one is Night of the Stormrider, and I love Burnt Offerings too. Burnt Offerings sounds amazing. So I'm not saying anything negative about that. It's just that over time, as we go from analog to digital, and you know, the way records change, they just change. Check out any of your favorite bands that have 8 or 9 or 10 albums. You will see that, you know, whoop, the sound quality and the way records sound, it just changes. That's all that means. So, all that said, my rating. Whoa, there we go. My rating for this album, Silver. Okay, that's it for me. What are your thoughts on Iced Earth as a band? What's your favorite album of theirs? Are you a fan of this one? Are you a fan of any of the Something Wicked? Again, I'm not as much a fan of the Something Wicked saga as other projects and other ideas and albums that Schaffer has written and done. And yeah, but I just wanted to sit down and review it. If any of this interests you, please check out the album, and please check out all my album reviews. I have quite a lot. I don't know if I have 100 yet. I might. We'll keep going. I just keep reviewing all my records. Of course, new records come out all the time, and I got to get those and review those too. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. See you later.